Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our Draft Prospect Show, and along with our producer and engineer, Logan Landers, and Trey Sims joins us again today. We appreciate having Trey on. Trey, today we get to talk about a guy who's fast, but he's got a great vertical. He had the best one in the combine, the best broad jump. We're going to talk about DJ Giddens, running back out of Kansas State, here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, we really are. I like DJ, very athletic guy, a lot of upside. You will talk, like you said, talk about it in a few seconds. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got speed and everything. Well, if you're looking for a speedy way to place a bet, go to mybookie.ag. Could you go to mybookie.com? Yes, but they prefer the AG. It's an overseas site. You can place a bet. You can bet on any of the football activity that's going on here with the draft. NBA, NHL playoffs are coming up. Baseball is in full swing. If you want horse or track racing, you want auto racing, you name it, you can go to mybookie.ag. You'd help the show out, but you'd also help out yourself if you use the promotional code MM50. MM50. Get your free chips, added advice. When you go on, you'll have access to see all of the different bets that are out there and find the right one just for you. So you're going to go online, you're going to fund an account, and then you're going to be able to place your bets. Mybookie.ag is the place to go if that's the activity that you're looking for in your next sporting experience. All right, Trey, let's back up just a little bit. A lot of running backs out there. Ashton Genty's getting all the heat right now. But if you're looking for a fast, powerful, big running back to put in your backfield, he's not going to be your first rounder. He may not be a second, but if you're looking to supplement your lineup, I think DJ Giddens is a great place to start. Tell me why.
Exactly. Like you said, big running back, 6 foot, 212 pounds. That's a really good size for a running back. With speed, because you run a 4.43, running 40 at the combine. Has a very good work bell cow. It only fumbled once in his two main years at Kansas State, where he had over 1,000 yards on both of them and high touchdown numbers. So very productive. I like him a lot. And there's a game that really stands out where he played against Deion in the Colorado, where he did a little bit of everything. He was catching the ball, had a lot of touchdowns, made a lot of people miss, ran over people, showed contact. So he showed his whole toolbox in his tool bag, so to speak. So I like him. He has great vision, and that's a little bit about why I think he could be a very sneaky steal late in the draft.
Yeah, he's from Junction City, Kansas, so went to school not too far. Hometown guy. You could throw the farm aspect, because I know guys that have gone to a Kansas State, Logan, that agriculture is a big portion of that. But you know what? They also play great football there, and he certainly played under that program. A pretty good high school player as well.
Yeah, I mean, he did some great work in high school, and I think it really contributed to his play in college as well. Like Trey had mentioned, the first attribute you think of when you watch DJ Giddens is his speed, right? The 4.4 40 is what everyone looks at with running backs, and he's not a small guy either, per se. Like I said, he's got some muscle mass on him. You can tell he's been hitting the gym, and he really can make it work. And like you said, Harper, with the NFL draft, we know that the main running back in this year's class, of course, is Ashton Genty. And, of course, we know how well he's done, and we've talked about him a lot here on the show. But with DJ Giddens, this is a guy who, like I said, it's not going to be a day one first-round pick, maybe day two. But I see him kind of being that middle round, third round, fourth round type of pick, to where he might be what I think he could be in the NFL is someone who might be, maybe like a fringe starter or someone who can split some time early on. Or if a team really needs a running back, I could definitely see him being a starter outright. But I definitely think whenever he does get drafted to whichever team wants his services, he can be someone who can do a lot of things for you. Like you said, the speed is there. He's got some kind of quiet power as well. I know he can get it done with the legs. He can juke you out your shoes, but he's also, like I said, a sturdy type of guy who's not afraid to, lower the shoulder a little bit and knock a guy down or two. And I like that in my running back, someone who's versatile, who can do a lot of stuff. And as Trey had mentioned, he improved pretty much every single season while he was at K-State. This past year in 24, he had over 1,300 rushing yards on over 200 carries. What I like, though, Harper, is he had 6.6 yards per carry. That is tremendous. That is elite. And I think that's a big reason why, a lot of people are starting to kind of look at him as we approach less than a week now until actually 1 week exactly to the day until the NFL draft. So I think, when you look at DJ Giddens, he's got all the running talent in the world. And I think that whoever drafts him is going to get a hell of a ball player.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Trey, one of the things that kind of gets me thinking about him now, don't put him in the same category as Eric Dickerson, but he runs at the same type of style. One of the criticisms about him is that his shoulders are a little bit too high for some people. Dickerson had that problem, but how'd that work for Eric, right? Because of his speed, because of his power, because of his ability to hold on to the football, Eric Dickerson became a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying DJ Giddens is going to be a Hall of Fame running back, but I am going to say in that style, who wouldn't need a third down guy that can block and lead the way for your smaller back, or be the guy that gets the carry? He's listed as a halfback here, even though he's technically a tailback. He has the ability, because of his size trait, at least in my opinion, to do both. And if he's great on special teams, he's going to be three players in one uniform.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, being listed as a tailback at K-State, they do use their running backs a little differently, where they use them a lot as far as blockers and running backs. Because I like what his size, like you said, he can be a very good blocker, even though he needs to work on pass protection a little bit, because I guess he doesn't really just pick it up as well as others. But when he does pick it up, with his size, he knows how to. He's not afraid of contact. He knows how to embrace it, and with his upright style, like you said, if he doesn't fumble, I don't think there's a problem with it too much.
Yeah, Logan, one of the things about the criticism of everybody is, especially at a specific position, tight end, you need to be able to get down the field a little bit faster. I don't care if you run a 4.1, they're going to say that about you, because that's just one of the things that they're going to have to find as a fault. With a running back position, it's you better pass pro. Another would be catching the ball out of the backfield. You don't expect that to be the number one priority from a running back. You expect him to be able to run the ball and hold on to it. Now, he meets those criteria, but the others, I don't know if it's criticism that you give to everybody. Yes, everybody needs to be better at pass pro. Certainly DJ falls into that category, but I think it's teachable, it's trainable, and for him to be able to make it at the next level, you throw that in with his ability to be able to catch outside of his frame, the ball that's high or maybe a little bit low or to left or to the right. Logan, tell me where I'm missing something that he needs to work on specifically versus something that everybody in general at the running back position needs to get better before they end up going to training camp.
Well, like you mentioned, Harper, the kind of the one main issue that people say about DJ Giddens is, like you mentioned, the pass protection. But you're going to hear that, like you mentioned, for a lot of running backs. And I think, like I said, that is a skill that you can coach, that you can teach. Just say, hey, just brace yourself, get ready for these big, 230, 300-pound guys coming for you, and just help out, protect your quarterback. But that's something you can teach. You can't teach the 4.4 speed he's got. He's done enough work in college, in the gym, to get to that skill level. But like I said, pass pro, I think he's still a solid guy in terms to catching out of the backfield. Is he a Christian McCaffrey? No, but not a lot of guys in the league are. Christian is a unicorn in that regard. And I think that DJ Giddens, he's not, like Trey said, he doesn't fumble the ball much. He's someone who is reliable, obviously, when he's a running back, when he's got the ball in his hands, who can, run through holes well. He's got the really good speed, as we mentioned. He is a solid, I'm not going to say he's A+, but he is a solid pass catcher in the backfield. He's not going to run all these insane routes, but he can get the basic ones done for you. And like you mentioned earlier, he's a third down back if you need him to. If you need this guy to go up there and get you a first down, if it's 3rd and inches, if it's 3rd and 2, he can either run through the hole there, he can get up the middle, or he can run out to the sides, and with that great speed, he can get around the edge and really make it work. But, I mean, there's not a whole lot of negative aspects when it comes to DJ Giddens, and that's what I like about him. That's what I like about when we talk about these players who are going in the later rounds, because you start to learn more about them. You start to hear more about how well they did at these schools. And we know the Wildcats, they have, this great guy here. And I mean, if you need someone who's just reliable, who haven't heard a bad word about him, everyone seems to really enjoy his company. He's a really good team leader at Kansas State. So he is just overall, it seems like a solid, just stand-up player. And there's not a whole lot of negative or check marks or in the negative category, I think, when you look at DJ Giddens' play. He's got the great speed. He can catch well. Not saying he's A+, but he can do his job. And like I said, there's not a whole lot you can really get on him for in terms of a negative aspect. I think he does a really good job.
Yeah, I'm looking at a specific website right now that says he runs too upright through contact. In other words, when someone gets underneath him and raises him up, he's too high. Well, who isn't going to be higher when they get hit in the chest and they get their head knocked up just a little bit? So I want to be careful how I do that. Yes, there are criticisms, and there are people that watch a heck of a lot more film than I do that see and recognize things that may be habitual that they may need to work on. I agree. But you don't think that the general managers are not breaking that down too, and that it's coachable and it's correctable, and that it would be a great aspect of why we bring this kid in is that his weaknesses are smaller or reduced in number compared to some of the others. You mentioned his receiving. I have 679 yards of total receptions while he was at K-State. One of the things that I liked that someone put down there, he demonstrates competency when he's on screens, Texas routes, or wheel routes. And the Texas route is where you run at the line of scrimmage and you make a 90-degree cut from where you're coming from, and you end up breaking over the middle of the field. Those are great. And for somebody to recognize that, I think that was outstanding scouting, at least in terms of my understanding. Trey, tell me what else we would need to know in terms of whether or not this guy's going to be a Steeler. I know that you're a pro Steeler in so many different ways. How could he make the Pittsburgh Steelers a better unit?
I do like he is one. He did go on a pre-draft visit with Pittsburgh, so they are indeed interested in him. So
yes, they are.
So I am locked in. But again, with them having already Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, he's going to come in and he could come in and be the third running back, have be a little mixture so that he doesn't have to carry the whole entire burden on him, which we've already talked about that he's more than capable of doing. And then as he grows and continues to develop, he could take more steps. He could, continue to thrive in the role of being a bell cow, and all his pluses, you can continue to build them. And then I know Pittsburgh's running backs, usually they get better, and they do the backs on backers. That's one of the things they talk about all the time in training camp. So you work on that, and you just continue to just build his skill set, build him out to be a steal in the draft.
Yeah, well, we mentioned Ashton Gente, number 2 in terms of where they rank. Amari Hampton, Caleb Johnson is also another guy listed. I'm going to just real quick, Logan, I'm going to give a couple of the guys that are in the same boat. If you're ranking from 1 to infinity, DJ Giddens is ranked number 17, give or take, depending on the site that you're on. Trevor Etienne at University of Georgia, 5'9", 205 pounds, so he's much smaller. He runs about a 4.42, which is right in the same area. Bashal Tutton from Virginia Tech, he's 5'11", he runs a 4.3, another fast guy. Damian Martinez from the University of Miami, 6 feet, runs a 4.5, so there's a big difference there, but different styles, different stoutness in terms of height and weight. Khalil Mullings, 6'2", 233. He runs a 4.62. So you're getting a guy in DJ Giddens that comparatively, he may not be as big as some, but he's faster in some respects than some of the other guys. The faster guys are littler. It's just kind of take your pick what you want. So what would you be looking for in terms of where he gets picked, who's looking for him specifically, if you have anybody, but just what he has to offer that some of the others do not?
So I think with DJ here, I think that, like I said, he covers kind of all the bases you want. He's got that great speed, and as you mentioned, Harper, he has speed that is kind of quicker than some of the other draft prospects you mentioned who might be ranked higher on certain draft boards or certain websites. But I mean, we mentioned the Steelers, and he has taken a look there. So I think that Trey and a lot of other people out there in the Pittsburgh area would love that. So that could really work there. Another one too that could work too, and this is he'd be a later round pick, obviously, but maybe a team that like a Buffalo who could work there with James Cook. That could maybe be a nice combo there. Perhaps he has a lot of really good skill sets, and I saw one place that was comparing him, and I think it'd be a good fit here too if he goes out to New England with the Patriots, who we know have done a lot of different work this year. They got the new head coach, they've got a lot of pieces, and I think a place where he could maybe work. And they compared him to Ramondre Stevenson. They're around the same height. They have kind of a similar build. I think that Giddens is a little bit quicker than Stevenson, but we know he had a little bit of down year last year. But in that 23 season, let's not forget how good he was for New England. So that could work there. A team that's kind of on the up and up, and could really just kind of look for a jolt on the offensive side of the ball. But when you look at Giddens, I think that you're going to get a guy who might not start off as an everyday back, but could definitely work his way to become a starter. If all things go well, if he continues to work and play like he did in college, I think that will translate greatly to the NFL wherever he ends up going. But I think that, I think it feels like we're all kind of talking about this guy, and is someone who, we wouldn't be surprised if we see him on a couple of top 10 plays in the morning, that he has a couple of games a year where he'll run for 100+ yards or score a big touchdown, because we think that he has that kind of breakaway speed and that just great football mentality that you want in your running back. So I think that, there's a lot of teams who, as we see the running back position kind of getting a resurgence in recent years, that I think he might go maybe a little bit earlier than what some other websites and whatnot are projecting him to be for.
Yeah, wherever he goes, man, if he's got a good offensive line in front of him, and you mentioned the 6.1 yards in college that we was averaging, you get a number like that in the pros, they're going to give you the ball. And what Trey pointed out earlier with him not fumbling, he had one ball hit the ground in the last 2 years in over 400 carries. That was very impressive to me. So I think the sky's the limit for this young man, at least from a guy who may be a day 3 pick. He might be a day 2. It just depends on how it goes, but he's going to make one team very happy, because he can run with speed, he can run with power, he can play on special teams for you, and he can be that guy that can either block or carry on 3rd and short or in goal line situations and get you that extra yard. I see the sky as the limit for him. So for Logan Landers, for Trey Sims, I'm Harper LaBelle saying thank you for tuning in, everybody. This has been our 2025 Draft Prospect Show. Today we feature DJ Giddens, the running back / halfback from Kansas State University. So we appreciate you tuning in, everybody. Thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football, and have a fantastic rest of your day.